So I never thought I would say this, but I think having too much focal length is affecting my creativity. Lately, I've been using my 35 to 150 for some photo shoots, and to be honest, I feel like it's been affecting the way that I kind of shoot and create content. I feel like when it comes down to shooting with my Sony gear, it's really just more kind of the business side of things when I'm trying to think of being creative, that adding a lot more focal range with a 35 to 150 like how I have and have loved shooting has been kind of affecting my creativity, and it's something that I'm kind of noticing lately because of one thing. See, I tested a couple of prime lenses for my Fuji X-E4 that I did the 56mm for a Viltrox lens and a TT Artisan lens as well. Having being constricted with those lenses with one kind of focal range really made me just get more creative with my shot and have to move around and just focus on the composition rather than moving my my zoom in and out of things, just because a lot of the times it's so easy to do with this lens because you can just go from 35 to 150, go back to whatever focal range you want to from one location. And don't get me wrong, it's something that I really think is very beneficial, especially when I'm on the go and something, fast needed for whether it's event photography or kind of lifestyle photography for sports or anything like that. Is very versatile. But for the creative side of things, I felt like it's been making me overthink things. See, recently I actually went and shot with this really cheap Samyang 35mm f2.8 while I was just walking around with my wife and just kind of having a little day to ourselves. Surprisingly, I actually was just focused on taking photos where it was just something that would capture my eye to try to be creative with it, because I would suck at just 35mm. I couldn't zoom in, I couldn't do anything else. And I noticed that whenever I try to do that with this setup, if I'm just going to go take some photos for maybe fun or something, I can't really get in a creative kind of thought process. There's a reason why I really love shooting with my Fuji X-E4, because you have a little bit more of a different feel. I've done a video before that is talking about the differences between Sony and Fuji, which apparently, a lot of people resonated with it, and as well, I guess, resonated with the way I say Fuji, which is, whatever, it doesn't matter to me, but it's just kind of funny to kind of bring that up again. But it is a big difference of things when it comes down to my creativity and how I feel about taking photos for art versus photos for just to make photos into that aspect of more business type. I actually went to one of my local camera shops here in the Woodlands area that's called Precision Camera. I talked with this guy named Harry there for quite a while, honestly, because I went to go develop my film from there, and I wanted to see what else they had maybe for the used gear, because you never know, you might find something nice. And we were talking about how he had just gone in the GFX 100S Mark II because he was going to go test it out because it just came out, that he was surprised that they got it so early, and he was just excited about it. And we started kind of talking about, different cameras and what they were for and what we would use them for. And we kind of started going into the aspect because he mainly shoots with the Fuji X, I think it's like the H2S, or I think it was. And I told him that I have my Fuji X-E4, and I enjoy using it because it's more of an art type of camera for me, not so much for the typical kind of job type of camera setup. With my 35 to 150, it's just been feeling that more and more lately, and because I think personally is more the focal range, because I have too many options, because I've never felt too creative in the sense the way that I would with my kind of Fuji X-E4 until I did this 35mm f2.8 pancake lens with my A7 IV. And surprisingly, I felt creative. I felt like I was doing something different that was more for art than rather than just a typical, like, I'm trying to get like the unreal shot or kind of quote unquote banger shot or whatever you want to call them, that it's going to get you the likes and whatever else out there for your social media. And that's what kind of got me thinking, is having too much focal range affecting my creativity and the way that I shoot? And to be honest, I feel like it does. I've obviously done a lot of videos with this lens and for photos and videos, and you can't, you miss with this setup at all. But sometimes I don't feel like I'm going with the right motions. I feel like I'm just kind of taking the photos without thought because I know I can get them and it's going to be fine, because the autofocus of the A7 IV and the focal range of the 35 to 150 is hard to miss or mess up with for me. So it just kind of is going through the motions rather than staying creative. And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, because it's just, there's all love for this lens. It's just sometimes I feel like having too many options really does affect our creativity. And I've made a video about that before on this channel, where sometimes challenging myself and limiting what I can use or whatever sparks my creativity. And it comes down to this. I mean, with a broad range of focal range is nice to have for a lot of business side of things, but I feel like for the art, it's always good to limit yourself. It's been interesting because talking with the guy from Precision Camera, we talked about how, you know, Sony's coming out that the 16 to 25 or 24 to 50, and other camera companies are trying to do the same style. But at the end of the day, it's still a zoom range lens, and they're great to use for like a lot of things in one go. But if you want to, you know, tone yourself down, it's sometimes good to limit yourself. And even with this lens, even if I wanted to just say I'm only going to shoot at 35, I know I can zoom if I need to because it's available to me. So then my mind and my thought process changes. And that's something that I don't want to have, because I don't want to see things because of a zoom, but more because I can start seeing what I can create with different focal ranges because I'm sticking with it for the creative purposes. Hopefully that's making sense to you, because it's kind of making sense to me in my head, because I know that if I would go and say I'm gonna have to take, let's say, 2 shots at 35, 1 shot at 50, 3 at 85, and 1 at 150 for my next photo shoot, I know I can make it happen, and I could do it with the 35 to 150, because I'm almost like limiting myself to use those focal ranges and try to find the shots that I would create with those focal ranges to limit myself to be creative and literally get creative with the shots so I can make them happen. That's kind of what it was nice whenever I took this camera setup out with me to just walk around and take some photos. It was just nice. It was just, I only had to focus on composition, moving around to the way that I would like it. There was times that I wish I did have my zoom range, because there was things that were going around that I could have captured with more focal range, but I didn't let it bother me, to be honest. It was what it was, and I was happy that I still took some good photos with this that I just genuinely enjoyed, that I posted on my social media story, and it was a good day for me. But I guess just to kind of, you know, circle around and bring it back to it all, just not keep rambling, it's just, I think having too much focal range is affecting my creativity and the way that I'm taking photos, that I'm going to have to figure out a way to make it beneficial for me, where it's not feeling like just pure work, but it's making me feel like I can still be a creative person when I get behind the camera, rather than feel like I'm just doing a, you know, photo shoot job. Because honestly, it's kind of made me feel like I'm overthinking my shoots more and more. And especially because I know that I have so many options that I kind of overwhelm myself when I'm trying to take the photos and everything, that I get to the point where I almost shut down a little bit, and I feel like I'm not going to get the shot that I need to. And then I go home and I see some good shots and I can make them work, and I'm happy at the end of it. But I want to feel happy through the process so that I can just feel better when it comes down to having the outcome become as it goes through it, that I know I'm going to be having it, rather than hoping for the best. I know a lot of the times it's just you want to feel comfortable in the shoot so that you know you're leaving with a certified, you know, good shot, rather than hoping you did really nail the shot later on. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just my thought process. So hopefully it makes sense a little bit. But now I want to leave this up to you. Do you think limiting yourself with focal length is going to help your creativity to become better? Do you do that for yourself, or are you fine with just using a zoom range type of lens because you know you can hit the right shots and marks that you need to without overthinking it? I would love to know your thoughts when it comes down to the type of setup that you have and what helps you out to stay creative, to make the right shots and make sure that you feel like you're doing the right shots as you're doing them, not just at the end of it once you get home and kind of see them in the big screen. It'd be awesome to see your thought process on that, so make sure to leave it down below. Oh, with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.